Thanks, Cathaoirleach. Minister, there's no disputing the fact that we're in the midst of an unprecedented energy crisis. It is the key driver of the soaring cost of living that continues to affect every household in Ireland. However, we know that its impact is not indiscriminate. Low and middle income households are disproportionately affected by the soaring cost of living, as they spend a higher proportion of their budget on energy, food and housing. This is borne out by the latest figures. 40% of households are now estimated to be living in fuel poverty. Nearly 270,000 customers were in arrears on their energy bills at the end of last year, and the number of parents now using food banks has doubled on what it was last year. This is the devastating reality of life in Ireland for so many workers and families, and while customers' bills soar, energy companies are making bumper profits. In the first 6 months of 2022, the ESB's profits more than tripled to a staggering €390 million. During that same period, Bord Gáis Energy's profits increased by 74%. To add insult to injury, both companies imposed multiple price hikes throughout last year. And despite wholesale energy costs decreasing in recent months, not a single energy company or supplier has reduced its prices. In fact, we are told it could be months, even next year, before household energy prices drop. The unbridled profiteering that we've seen over the past couple of years cannot be allowed to continue. The market is utterly failing customers, and the state must step in. Indeed, it should have done so long ago. Hard-pressed customers cannot wait any longer for the drop in wholesale gas and electricity prices to be reflected in their bills, not least as there is no guarantee that wholesale prices will drop for a sustained period. There are just too many variables involved, including the very uncertain situation in Ukraine. That's why a new approach is urgently required, and that is exactly what the Social Democrats are proposing in our motion today. The government's failure to commit to price caps is really indefensible, Minister. What is desperately needed is a targeted energy price cap, one which would cap the price of average energy usage for domestic customers and for businesses. This approach would ensure that everyone gets their essential energy needs at an affordable price, and crucially, it would ensure that wealthier households do not disproportionately benefit. Minister, I would urge you to give our proposal immediate consideration. This is not a blanket energy price cap like that which was introduced in the UK, with no upper limit on the amount of discounted energy. It is a targeted measure that would also incentivise energy conservation. Alongside targeted price caps is the urgent need to introduce a windfall tax on energy companies. It is a scandal that energy companies have been and continue to profiteer from a war, and this government's reluctance to respond rapidly has been really disappointing. It's almost 6 months since Minister Ryan first announced his intention to introduce a windfall tax, and yet we're still waiting for the necessary legislation, as record profits go unchecked. Many households and businesses are at breaking point. They cannot absorb these soaring energy costs any longer. I very much welcomed yesterday's announcement of the government's intention to introduce a windfall tax, however late in the day. However, the key point is that households have to be the main beneficiaries of this tax. In this respect, there is a strong case for a targeted price cap, which this motion calls for. And I'd again call on the Minister to give this particular proposal urgent consideration. I would urge you, Minister, to assure us that the fact that you are not opposing this motion here today is actually meaningful, and we look forward to further detail on that. Thank you.